Hello everyone, I am Andrea, your TA for the class. I am going to be talking to you about contour today. So contour drawing is basically, contour means the outside edges of something. So if you think about a contour map in cartography, they're trying to describe the tops of the mountains, the way they go up and down, maybe the valleys and the hills. So it's those outer edges that describe the form of a shape. So we're not talking about value, we're just talking about a line drawing. So like you would see in a coloring book or oftentimes in a comic book, that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna do it in pen because that should be real easy for you to see. And another reason I'm gonna use pen is because these ones that we're gonna do today, there's no going back. They're kind of exercises to help you learn to see the things that you're drawing. So I'm going to start first by just talking about what you should be looking for in a contour drawing. So it's easy to say, I brought this orange with me. Here's my little orange. It's easy to look at an orange and say, okay, that's an orange. Maybe it has like a little thing right here. Easy enough, right? But that's not really what this kind of exercise is about. It's about really looking and seeing, okay, so if what I'm looking at from my point of view, which is right here, is this outside edge of the orange, that is not just a perfectly smooth arc. I'm seeing, let me make sure that you can see what I see here. I'm seeing, first of all, this little nubby stem bit, and it has these other little bumps around it. I'm going to do this in continuous line style because that's something I want to talk about in a minute. And I kind of cheated there. My pen lifted from the page, but all you do is go right back to where you started the line. And there's kind of a bump here. So you see I'm going really slow. I'm not just doing this boom, done arc. I'm trying to really let my eyes wander along the edges of this circle and let my hand follow along on that journey. And since this is an exercise, we're not looking for perfection. So right now I've got what looks kind of like a pretty gross orange that you wouldn't want to buy in a grocery store. This is my thumb. But that's okay. I'm not selling oranges. I'm not creating an advertisement for oranges. I am helping my eyes and my hand and my pen all learn to work together by moving really slowly at this job. So that's kind of my hand around the orange, and then there's this. So that turns out to be a pretty lumpy orange, right? But I kind of did a combination there between continuous line and blind, which is the other thing I'm going to talk about, is blind contour. Because I was focusing my attention at least 80% of the time not on this page and what was happening on the page, but what was happening on the actual surface and curves of the orange. So that's my little example of what we're looking for with these contours. It's not a gesture drawing. In a gesture drawing, you're going quick, you're trying to kind of get the idea of what's going on. This is nice and slow and really looking at the details. So another way to explain continuous line contour, you saw me do it. I was using one line, but you can kind of think of it as a wire. And I've seen people do this as an exercise before for continuous line. So if you think of your line as one single wire that you would be laying down to describe the shape of that orange, the wire is not going to break. You're not going to cut the wire and put it in a different place and do all that. You're doing it as if you were just laying down one continuous line, a continuous wire, to describe that orange. And you also saw me do some things to help connect those inner shapes that don't seem connected to the outside edges. So I'm going to demonstrate that concept right now using this little impulse buy that I got on, I think it was Instagram. They showed me this ad one too many times, and I I decided to just give in and buy it. So I'm going to try to draw this guy using just one line. And you can see that that might be difficult considering that he has some details on his face. He has some contours on his chest that aren't necessarily connected. And then I'm gonna not use my imagination too much. I'm gonna draw him as he actually is, not as intended as a dummy where he's just like to give me the idea. So doing a continuous line drawing of my little mannequin here. I'm gonna start, ooh, sorry, my hand gets shaky sometimes. I'm gonna start at his head because that's where I like to start. And I'm gonna bring it down and get his ear, get his jaw, get his other ear. So you see how I kind of looped around to kind of grab that, that inner shape. Ugh, and I kind of messed up a little bit, so I'm just gonna go over the line one more time to kind of fix it, so to speak. This is essentially just a sketch like you would do in your sketchbook. It's not a finished drawing in the sense that we would erase and try to perfect it. So now I'm trapped kind of out on these lips, and how am I going to connect? How am I going to keep it a continuous line and still have it make sense? Well, I'm not going to have it make total sense. I'm going to come down the chin a little bit and maybe describe this contour where his chin juts out, and then come down and get his little neck portion, and then the shoulder socket going around his bicep, this part. Oh man, I'm sitting here thinking about all these anatomical parts and about how long it's been since I've been to the gym. Like bicep, tricep, you got your... See, I can't even remember the name of all the muscles. It's been so long. So there's my fingers. And now I was trapped out on the extremity of the hand here, so I have to go back, trace back along, because I don't want to lose that continuous line. I don't want to cut the wire, so to speak. Now, it could happen that I could, you know, a dust mote could fly in and I could sneeze and I could lose my line. But again, just go back to exactly where you left off. There's no line police that are there to make sure that you never lifted your pen. It's about creating this product that's a continuous line, and about, of course, the journey, because this is an exercise, as I said before, to help your hand and your eyes and your brain and your pen all learn to work together and really see details. And slow down, because we often rely on kind of what we think we know when we're looking at objects. We basically think we know what a person looks like, so it's easy for us to say, okay, well, I know what eyeballs look like. I'm going to use the same system I always use to draw eyeballs. But you might be very surprised if you slow down and take a look at what's actually in front of you and how the eyeball that you see doesn't necessarily match up with the eyeball that you imagine or think you know. Because the world is much simpler when we kind of come up with a shorthand for everything. So we got his quads down here. I'm going to do the contour of that quad muscle coming down. Get his little joint, his calf muscle. And since I'm running out of space, I'm going to pull a, oh, what's that guy's name? It's a really good German artist who's famous for his drawings. It's kind of a strange name. but sometimes he kind of makes his drawings look like amputees. And I find that's a pretty pretty effective way to keep yourself on the page and still look like you know what you're doing, so to speak. So that's the name of the game a lot of the times in art, is not doing it perfectly and what people expect, but kind of making it look like you know what you're doing by coming up with creative solutions. So there's his foot, and I think I am nearly done with this guy. I'd say that that's pretty good for an exercise. So that's him. Obviously, it's not a perfect proportional representation. It's not, again, I don't know if I can say this enough. It's not about perfection. It's about doing an exercise. When you do go to the gym, like I was talking about, you're not trying to come up with a perfect performance of the absolute best squat that you've ever seen in your life. You're doing 50 squats so that you strengthen up your muscles and you become good at doing those squats, maybe so that you can do something else, like play basketball better or just work around your house better. It's not about the squat. It's about what you can do with it. And it's the same here. It's not about this drawing. I could crumple it up and put it in the trash. It's about learning the skills from the drawing. So that is continuous line contour. I got to look at both the paper and my little guy at the same time, which is what differentiates it from this next exercise, which is blind contour. So if we're talking again about teaching our eyes and our hands to communicate, this is kind of like if you've ever done those exercises where one person has to close their eyes and the other person has to describe where they go. So for instance, there's like a maze in front of you and you have your blindfold on and your friend is behind you saying, okay, take 3 steps forward, and then you're going to take 1 step about 2 inches to the left. It's similar to that. So your hand is the one with the blindfold on, and your eyes are the one who gets to see what's happening. So you can't see my face. So this is going to have to be the honor system, but I am not going to look at this page. This is going to be a pretty hilarious result here. And this is how your blind contour drawing should generally look, is kind of hilarious, especially if you're doing people's faces, which I'm going to do for you right now. My daughter doesn't know that she's going to volunteer for me, but she is behind my shoulder, approximately at my 4 o'clock position, and I'm going to keep my eyeballs on her while she's playing Minecraft. And my paper is going to be at my 12 o'clock position, and I'm going to try to be very good and very obedient to my own rules that I'm setting myself here and not look at my paper. So, here we go. You ready, Amira? Give me a yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start at the top. So that seems logical to me. This is her hairline. Here's her cute little cheek. She is 10 years old now. She had her birthday in quarantine. Here's her lips. I'm going to go back down the chin, try to get her other side of the jawline. This is where it's going to start looking pretty ridiculous because I'm going to try to meet the lines that I made. Here's the top of her hairline. I'm going to give her the outside of her hair. Her hair's been growing because just like the rest of us, she cannot go to the salon. Here's some little swoopy curls. I should have done the face while I still had the jawline. All right, so I'm going to try to come back and do her face. I think I might have already done her lips, but I get to do them again. Here's her little nose and her brow ridge and her eye. I have to come back and try to do the other brow ridge and the other eye. And yeah. Oh, wow. That is an exceptional example of a blind contour. What do you think, Amira? She seems not impressed. A little bit befuddled and shocked. Yeah. But that's how they should look. If I give blind contours as an assignment to my students and they turn in 20 blind contours, but they all actually look like well-finished, presentable pieces, I know that they didn't really follow the exercise quite the way that I intended them to do, because if you're not looking at the paper, it'll show. So that's my blind contour of her. I'll try a blind contour of something else that's not a human being. I have a little painting of a polar bear right in front of me at my 1 o'clock position. I'm gonna try and get this little swimming polar bear. All right, here's his cute face, or her cute face, who knows? I don't want to be gendered here. Well, unless we're talking about languages where nouns actually have gender. Okay, so that's supposed to be its cute little face. Yeah, so it's strange to me how if you're studying German or Spanish or something, and a type of animal will have a gender, like I think in German a cat is female. So what do you do if you know that the cat is actually a male cat? All right, there's my polar bear. Yeah, you can come look. I kind of love working at home. I hope you all have found good things about working at home. I know it's hard, but I do love being able to interact with my children. Yeah. Oh, she's suggesting another object to do, and we're gonna do this. All right, she's gonna keep me honest by holding it. Here, hold this at my 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, that way I don't have to turn my head. No. Oh, just stand right here. And hold it on your hand, flat. All right, I'm doing this little squid. It's probably a character from a movie that I haven't seen because I'm not hip and cool. So there's the little headband he's wearing. He's a chef. Oh no, I looked at the paper. She caught me.
I caught you.
Old habits die hard. Yeah, so he or she, again, trying not to be sexist or gendered or assume anything, appears to be some kind of chef octopus. Oh.
Octopus with a knife and headband.
Oh, his little tentacle has a band. His or her. I apologize, has a bandage on it. I don't think I've done the face yet, so I'm gonna do some eyeballs and then a smiley face and another eyeball. Okay.
That was okay.
Yeah, if anybody knows who this character is, feel free to share in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow me on my Patreon. No, I don't have any of those things. Well, if you dig hard enough, you'll find a YouTube channel where I have like one video. But it is not something I put on my CV. So there we have it. We have the concept of contour drawing, which is to get the outside edges of something with no value. So you're not trying to get your little shadows, and you're not smudging things out or even using cross-hatching or anything like that. Though you can kind of do that. You kind of do that accidentally, like if you're getting cheekbones. You're not so much trying to get the shadow of the cheekbone, you're trying to get that high contour. If y'all have seen those, you can render things in the computer where you have like a prismatic, this drawing means nothing. You have like a prismatic representation of like an animal or a person's face, and they've broken down each contour and plane to a geometric representation. That's kind of another form of a contour drawing. It's just much more geometric and less organic. Yeah, that's not... I'm not a computer. I can't do renderings. But hopefully that gives you some idea of what I'm talking about. Continuous line contour is, again, just this idea that that your line is like a string or a wire that's unbroken. It just keeps going, and you kind of have to solve the problems about where to put eyes and stuff by connecting those strings. And then blind contour, which is where you just don't look at your paper. You're guided by what your eyes see, but your hand gets to do it blind. And these are all exercises. One more time, I don't know if I can say it enough, but these are exercises to help you learn the skills that you need to be able to really look at something and transfer the things that you see through your instrument into a two-dimensional representation on paper. So I had a good time making this video. I hope you had a good time watching it, and I hope that these skills can really help you in the future. I love personally to sit down and do continuous line contours. Blind contours less so of things, because I just think that the product Even though it may not look like an octopus, I still think the product is quite interesting and beautiful just to see the way the lines look on the paper. And it's a great way to fill up a sketchbook and hone your skills and hone your your ability to look. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy all your assignments. Good luck on that, and enjoy the springtime. And talk to me through email or whatever other way you want to. I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.